Okay, so is everybody in shot?
You're
Okay.
not. But
I'm not. Okay.
That's okay.
I'll just ask questions. So, I guess your band has been around for a while, but Kyle, you're the new dude. How did that all work out when they needed a bass player?
I moved to Buffalo because I was sick of being a grown-up for a little bit, and basically I just had no job and a lot of free time, and I was hanging out a lot. I was going on weekends just because I couldn't get a job because I'm from Canada, and just kind of been hanging out a lot. And I was jamming with Alex for a solo project, so my stuff was there, and I had a lot of free time, so kind of filled in the blanks.
And we liked him.
That always helps. So was there any initiation period, or were you the temp dude and one day you're like, oh, I guess I'll be permanent?
Yeah, totally. There was no initiation, but we didn't want to rush into things because it's a big part of Alex and Sheena's life, and I didn't want to get my hopes up too high as well. So we kind of played it out and saw how we did. I did a bunch of weekends, and we did the winter tour last year, and kind of after that, when we knew that we could coexist and be happy together, then I guess it kind of got settled.
Right on. So you guys recently signed a Bridge 9, which is kind of a big deal because it's primarily a hardcore label, and even the melodic bands on that label, like Polar Bear Club, still have a kind of an edge to them. Is it weird being this Powerpop band on a label with sort of a dubious reputation because of their message board?
That was kind of the appeal to signing to the label. I thought it was that we would be the band that didn't really make sense. I thought that was just kind of I thought it was just kind of fun to just kind of maybe be the band that was changing, the reputation of the label a little bit, as far as being a hardcore label. And then also just the fact that the people that run the label aren't so much the people that are talking on the board,
Yeah.
Because it's a board with 10,000 people,
You
right?
can't really control what people say.
Yeah, I mean, you can go on any message board and there's going to be, jerks. So, but the people that run the label are great and they're super nice, and that was definitely really reassuring. We said we talked to other bands that we're friends with that had done records on the label, and they're all one of our friends, Andy, he'd been on so many other labels, big and small, and he was just Bridge 9 was the best experience I ever had working for a label. So.
Yeah.
And you meet the people that are involved in things, and you assume that they predominantly like a certain style of music, but in fact, the people that run Bridge 9 listen to obviously a wide variety of music, and they wanted to put out our record because they like our music, which is most important.
Yeah.
As somebody that wants to put out your record, so it's nice to have the support from them, which also helped us in the decision to put our record on their record label.
Yeah. When most bands leave Asian Man and kind of move on to greener pastures, Mike Park still plays an active role in their existence, whether it's reissuing merch or past records, and still keeping a working relationship. Was he supportive about the move to Bridge 9?
Yeah, he's the one that told us we should do it. We told him we were going to be maybe given, getting options and seeing what we wanted to do with the next record, and when we were offered the Bridge 9 support, then Mike Park was immediately you should do it. He definitely pushed us to go on, and still helps us book tours. He comes to our shows on the West Coast. He's always an active part of our lives as a band, and will always be.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most special thing.
We just saw him a couple of days ago. He set up our San Francisco show, and pretty much he set up this show even.
Oh, wow.
He set up a bunch of the West Coast shows because we were booking a lot of the East Coast stuff and come out here, and he just knows more people out here, and he's just we hadn't been out here for a few years, and we did come out here last time. It was with the Queers, and they booked it.
Yeah.
So for us to book our own out here, it was just Mike's he tours and he plays shows. He knows who's doing good shows out here, so he helped us with the whole West Coast, which is really awesome.
You guys have played with some pretty awesome bands that seem, like they have a, there's a hint of influence, like the Queers. And I remember when you guys did the Screeching Weasel show in Chicago, I thought that was kind of cool. I would have loved to have seen that, but what was that like?
It was awesome. We played with them in Philly too, and Philly was crazier because it was the biggest show we've ever played in our lives. It was
1,200 people.
It was 1,200 capacity, sold out, and we're just There's nerve-wracking, especially since it was sold out for a different band, so like you're playing to 1,200 people that like, some have heard of you, but most haven't, so it's kind of scary. But yeah, as for Screeching Weasel, it's one of my favorite bands of all time. I was really excited to do it. So.
I also feel like the shows went over really well in general. Like everyone who was like with Screeching Weasel and even in the crowd were really accepting. And like we were really nervous at first because like you just see a bunch of people who are older and like all into that whole like Queers and Screeching Weasel style like bands, and it was just kind of really nerve-wracking for us. And once we started playing, everyone was really accepting and really generous to us. So.
Right on. And you guys have a new record, or are you working on the record? Oh, wait, well, we talked about this, but for the purpose of this interview, we'll say. So, are you guys working on a new record after the tour? Or?
Yeah, we go immediately the day after we finish our tour to Baltimore to record.
And who are you recording with?
Jay Robbins.
Nice.
Yeah, we're really excited. So we'll finish that. We have like 2.5 weeks booked with him, and then hopefully record will be out by October.
Are you road testing any of the new songs right now, or?
Yeah.
We play like
a couple.
We have a couple that we play live.
Yeah,
But-
we've been trying to before we left on this tour, we did demos of the songs so that we could continue working on them while we were on tour, and we've been trying to fit in practices and try to like keep playing them so that when we get there, we're not totally like, oh, we forgot every song we wrote before we left.
Which we might have if we didn't make
It's
those
real.
demos,
It's
'cause
been really
like
hard. Trying
it's like
to practice and
going 2.5 months without playing those songs would have been pretty much a bad idea, especially since they're not songs we know very, or like just working on writing now.
Right, but it's one of those things too where you want to play the songs that people know.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, it's been kind of hard when you play a set, and I'm not saying everywhere is like this, but when you play a place where people know the songs and they're singing along, and you play that one new song that nobody knows, it just kills it, and like you just kind of have to awkwardly like pick it back up. But I know that like when the record comes out, people have access to listening to those songs for your favorite bands or your bands that you like. You get excited to see them after you hear like the full collection of what they have that's new. So hopefully after we release the record, people will be excited about those new songs. But for now, we're trying to just still play stuff that is off Get Better, and also with Kyle, like he hasn't been in the band for that long, and we kind of had to either learn the entire collection of our history for Kyle to learn them, or we could progress and work towards new stuff that he could learn and be a part of, So it's been kind of challenging because sometimes people will ask us to play songs, and we're so excited about working on new stuff that we can't like possibly know all of the songs we've written in the past and do that at the same time with the amount of time we have together to practice and.
So do you guys split the writing duties, or do you just kind of come into practice and see and jam it out and see what happens? Or?
I think me and Alex, even when Kyle joined the band, had a direction of a lot of the new songs that we had, and usually, one of us will come into practice with a riff or a drum beat or something and kind of form it around that with all of us. So, no, we've tried different methods of writing, and I think.
Yeah, every song's written different.
Yeah.
There's no like one way,
Even on Get Better, there were songs on there that we did the day before we recorded them, and then we had to learn them, to try to play them live, but got a weird flow sometimes.
It's starting to rain, so
Yeah.
I guess maybe we'll end it. Oh, and just one last question. So you guys are going to go on tour with Newfound Glory in the fall. Is it the fall or is it late this summer?
It's, late summer,
Yeah.
August.
How do you think that's going to go?
I think
It's going to be good, yeah. It's weird because we just did the Polar Bear Club tour and we didn't know how that was going to go. And for the most part, it was really good. And it kind of, I think it helped us realize that it's always really important to play in front of new crowds and kind of submerge yourself in a different genre that you maybe normally wouldn't be a part of, like the Bridge 9 thing. Like if we wouldn't have signed to Bridge 9 just because they're a different genre of music technically or whatever, like I think that we would have been missing out on a lot of things. And
it'd be like us not signing to Asian Man because it's a ska label.
Yeah.
It's not only a ska label now, but like.
And I think one of the important things too is
working with people who want to work with you and who like you as like a band, as a musician. And like when we played in California on this tour, like Chad, for like guitar player from Newfound Glory, he was at our show and he was singing along, and we went to dinner with him, and just why wouldn't we want to work with someone who's like wants to work with
Supporting
us?
us.
You know what I mean? Like he's a fan of us, and I'm a fan of Newfound Glory, and I think it kind of goes hand in hand.
They're good. I'm not making fun. I still like them, and you know, I'm old, so.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for doing this on really
Thank
short
you.
notice. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Always at all.
Thanks for